Ranjan sir,
Hello.
do you like poem
Yes.
and why?
Why? Poem started with poem. Everything started.
Okay,
Means I come from the painting background. Okay.
okay,
Long before I came into photography, filmmaking, and other stuffs. But before painting, since my childhood, since I was small, poem means. Most of the times when I was a small kid, I didn't understand the poems, but poem had a magic. Okay. So my love for poem, I don't write poem much, right? Because for writing a poem, I need to have lot of you can say my space or own space for a long time, right? And that is very difficult for me. I am a very busy person. I actually don't get quality time to think, to write a quality poem. Rarely I've written few poems. Okay, one of which is internationally published and is all over known around the world. Okay, from that poem I created a photo series. Checkmate. I think the whole world knows this, right? I'm known as Mr. Checkmate, right?
right.
This Checkmate series was based on a poem. Okay, so since you asked me, my article got published in, I think, as far as remember, L'Amour magazine in Paris.
Okay.
So I'll read you the poem. Okay, it is on a mobile. Fine. I can tell you, poem affected my creative. Poem is through which I understand my creativity. Okay, so let's read.
Sure.
This poem Checkmate I started writing back in 2011. Okay. And I finished this final version of this poem in, I think, 2024. Nearly 13 years it took me to actually evolve this poem into the final poem. The poem is Checkmate. It starts with: in a game of chess between life and the man of imagination, and a lifeful living being at the center, and the reflection of the dance of the soul in his eyes. I just read the first stanza for only one reason, that if I read to make you understand each stanza. Okay. So here, when I started writing this poem back in 2011, so my whole life has been a struggle, right? So to describe life, God, a man's journey, right? The best maze is the chessboard.
Okay.
So here I have taken a character. Here actually the man of imagination is actually Ranjan Kundu. But I purposefully transformed this man of imagination into a protagonist, as if I had been writing a novel. Okay, so that I don't have any emotional touch to this character called the man of imagination. But from a logical and spiritual thinking, I am going to write this poem. And when I started this was the first stanza I wrote 13 years back, but I could not complete the whole poem. It took me a lot of years to understand what I'm trying to convey. Okay, so the first stanza represents a chessboard where there is a handicapped chess match is happening. Okay, the chess match is happening. On one side there is a human being who is represented as the man of imagination. On the other side there is the king of the earth, known as the life or sage life, what we know, right? And along with his tag team partner is God, Almighty God, the creator of every living beings, right? At the center of the chessboard, there is a move that has happened after, say, 10 moves. This moves has been set up between the knight, horse and the camel from different colors, right?
Right.
And the seed of the move represents the mortal world, the living world, we human beings, our world, right? This scene is represented by a living being, where the line is a lifeful living being at the center. This chess move, after the 11th move in the chessboard, is represented by a mortal, by the essence of a mortal, the essence of a living being, the essence of a human being.
Okay.
Right? That's why the third line is a lifeful living being at the center. Okay.
Okay.
But what represents a living being? The glaze of the glaze in the eyes of a human being, right?
Right.
The glaze in the eyes of a human being, and that is why there is a fourth line, the reflection of the dance of the soul in his eyes. What this line means? This line means the glaze in the eye of that person, right? Male or female, I am not taking it. I have treated it is a human being itself, right? The glaze in the eye of that person represents the fire in the spirit of that person. That represents a human being, right? That is why this fourth line is the reflection of the dance of the soul in his eyes. Now we have covered the first stanza, right?
Yes.
The second stanza is a bit complex compared to the first stanza.
Okay.
Because it is not described as English grammatical language in poetry, the way a poem should be written. I purposefully made the second stanza a contradiction stanza. Okay, to complement the first stanza.
Okay.
And to make understand the whole, means understand why the strategies, what is the thinking process behind the strategies used in the chessboard from both sides.
Yeah.
Right? So now the human being has to you can say pay his respect to both sage life and to both God, yet is trying to somehow checkmate life and God together, but it does not understand how to do it.
Yes.
Okay, because life is the master of every known thing we know, and God is the creator of everything. How to rival them? There's only one way to rival these two kings, that is to project your knowledge, your wisdom with utmost respect.
Yeah.
And only through respect and what you call is acknowledgement of your knowledge, God and life shall say whether you are passed or failed.
Yes.
Right? So the stanza goes by: sun versus moon, day versus night, light versus darkness, truth versus illusion, hope versus despair, human versus monist, love versus lust, realization versus revenge, salvation versus damnation in a game of chess. So now I take the first line, sun versus moon, right?
Right.
The perfect way to describe Earth and solar system means Earth, sun, moon, solar system is one line. And it's said in poetry, sometimes one line is enough to write a whole poetry.
Yeah.
Okay. The sun versus moon represents Earth, our moon, our sun, our solar system.
Yeah.
Okay. And without this, living being will not exist.
Yeah.
Second line is day versus night. If the amount of the period of day and the period of night had not been balanced, then living beings would not exist. If there was if day has been more, where the sun rays would have heated more than the heat was required, plants and human beings would burn, right?
Right.
If the night was long, then there was so much cold, then human beings and plant would have frozen.
Yeah.
So the balance of day and night is the reason living beings, human beings, plants exist. That's the second line represents.
Okay.
Day versus light. Okay. Third line, light versus darkness.
Yeah.
Light is represented by many things. Sun, day. Without sun and the day, there would be no light.
Yeah.
Without light, there will be nothing. In the same way, without the moon and the night, there wouldn't be darkness. And without darkness, there will be nothing.
Wow.
There always has to be a balance between light and darkness for living beings to exist, be it knowledge, be it existence, be it anything.
Yeah.
Right? That's why the third line, light versus darkness. Right?
Okay.
Fourth line, truth versus illusion. Right? How would you value illusion if you hadn't understand the truth?
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And how would you know the worth of truth if you have not mastered illusion? Right?
Right.
In simple words, I will tell you. Say, this glass has cold drinks.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, right?
Right.
If you have not accepted that this glass has Coca-Cola, you have thought this glass could have Rasna or any other thing, right? You accepted the truth that in this glass there is Coca-Cola. That is why you saw this illusion of a black liquid in the glass as a glass filled with Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
If you didn't have the understanding that black liquid can represent any other thing besides Coca-Cola also,
yeah,
then how would you differentiate between whether it was Coca-Cola or some Thumbs Up or Campa?
yeah,
Right? To differentiate, you have to understand illusion. The black liquid represents illusion, but what this black liquid has, the term Coca-Cola, is the truth.
yeah,
Right? Without knowing the truth, you can't differentiate the illusion, and without understanding the illusion, you can't understand the truth.
right.
Simple?
Simple, very simple.
Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line, hope versus despair. Right?
Yeah.
If a person does not know the value of hope, you're moving forward in life. Wherever road you take, you have a hope in your heart, right?
Right.
But how you can understand the value of hope? How you can understand the pain of hope? Only you have met despair, right?
Right.
What is despair? The failure of not achieving what you have hoped for is despair,
একদম
right?
রাইট
তুমি কিছু অ্যাচিভ করতে চেয়েছিলে, মানে কি চেয়েছিলে, কি সেটা আশা মানে হোপ। ওই চাওয়াটাতে তুমি কোনো কারণে পৌঁছাতে পারোনি, তার থেকে যে ব্যথা তৈরি হয়েছে, এই পুরো প্রসেসটা ডিসপেয়ার বলে তো,
একদম
রাইট?
রাইট
So there is a saying, if you can't understand failure, you will not understand success. Let's say success is the road for hope, then failure is the road for despair.
Right.
You need both roads to walk.
Yes.
Otherwise you will go off road, right?
Yeah, right.
After this comes human versus moneyist. Easy. Human means a person who at least knows to respect other human beings for they being born as human beings.
Yeah.
If I talk by Swami Vivekananda's words, জীব সেবা মানে শিব সেবা,
রাইট
রাইট? যে মানুষকে বোঝে না সে নিজেকেও বোঝে না,
একদমই না,
রাইট? এবার moneyist, what is moneyist? One who understands everything by money. One who is moneyist will be greedy. Ambition is good, but if there is more greed than ambition, any ambition is poisonous, is toxic,
yeah,
right? Be money centric, but don't be money greedy,
yeah,
right?
right,
You should know where to stop and where to run,
yeah,
right? One who does not know how to control, how to not getting control of money but yet earning money, then he can be a human being. One who can't will be a moneyist, right?
right,
Now comes love versus lust,
yeah,
right? This is easy one that is genuinely pure. Love is the truth.
Yes.
Right? Say I love somebody, for example, right?
Yeah.
And she loves me back. There is truth in it.
yes,
That's why it's called love.
yeah,
I like somebody or I love somebody, she loves me back, right? But there is more than love. She wants something else. There is called what you call desire, sexual desire, or there could be some benefits, right? Means any advantage you put with love, then that love turns into lust. Two simple words.
Yes.
Love with benefits is equal to lust.
Yeah.
Love that is pure is love. Love with benefit is equal to lust.
Yeah.
Simple. Realization versus revenge.
Okay.
Okay. Say you have an enemy, for example, right? Say I have an enemy, sorry, so for example, if I put it this way. I can teach that my enemy a lesson in two styles, either through realization or through revenge. Okay?
Okay.
If I teach, now listen what I'm saying, very grateful, is very practical approach. If I defeat my enemy using revenge, then a revengeful poison stays back both in my enemy and in myself. Right?
Right.
But if I teach my enemy a lesson, not to teach him a lesson, but to make him understand that there's a limit to everything, I think you need to stop.
Yeah.
To make him understand this line, that there's a limit to everything, there's a limit to any enmity, but there's a limit where you need to stop.
Right.
Right? We each of us has other issues also that we need to handle, rather than wasting our time on enmity to that is toxic to both of us.
Right.
If I take this approach where I indirectly helping to be a better person and also help myself to be a better person, it is realization.
Yeah.
But if I want to end enmity with a bitter note, with a toxic note, it becomes revenge, and revenge is not good.
Yeah.
Revenge creates more revengeful toxins.
Right.
But realization helps both to be a better person.
Yeah.
Right? Salvation versus damnation. Okay. This line represents spirituality. Okay.
Okay.
A person if can reach two extremes. One is reach the root of the moksha through spirituality, or can worship the devil to reach damnation, where his spirit is damned. Right?
Right.
When you reach moksha, you have done salvation.
Yeah.
Moksha. When you have taken the path of the devil, where at the end your soul does not get sold, but your soul get damned. That's called damnation. Right?
Yeah.
Now the last line is a game of chess. Right? Where is this? Well, these knowledges are being played. It's played in the chessboard between the human being in a handicap match. One side human being, other side life and God.
Yeah.
So this is how the human being is paying his respect to his teachers, both life and God, yet also trying to win that chess game. Right?
Yeah.
And this is how he is doing it. He is using the sun, the moon, the day, the night, the light, the darkness, the truth, the illusion, the hope, the despair, the human, the monist, the love, the lust, the realization, the revenge, the salvation and the damnation. From the inception of the solar system to the end of a life circle to death.
Right.
Only then he can he can pay respect and also has a chance of winning. Okay?
Okay.
Now the third stanza and the final one, okay?
Okay.
It goes by, between life and the man of imagination, and a lifeful living being at the center, and the reflection of the dance of the soul in his eyes, the man of imagination checkmates life in the maze of life in the form of a chessboard. Checkmate by the man of imagination.
Okay.
Now, the second stanza was the process by which the man of imagination not only outsmarted both God and life, but also earned their respect.
Okay.
Okay. And there is a saying about both God and life. I will tell you in just one line. God wants all his children to win,
Yeah.
but only allows only the worthy to win.
Right.
God only allows only his worthy child to win, who has truly understood the meaning of life, the meaning of a human being, meaning of the soil where that person has walked, and also understood the meaning of the existence of God, right?
Right.
But you have to pass God's test in a rightful way. And God, when take tests, does not show mercy. But
Right.
you have to prove it through your mental, through your capacity and intelligence, right? In the same way as life, right?
Right.
And here there's a line called the man of imagination checkmates life, right? Actually, it's a metaphor. The man of imagination is not checkmating life. The man of imagination rivaled life in its highest level, yet took the blessing of life. Right?
Right.
But so that the teacher life and the student, the man of imagination, both respect is kept. That's why this line is added in honor of the life, God, and also the student, the man of imagination, or the human being. Right? That's why this line I have written, the man of imagination checkmates life.
Okay.
To give respect to both three.
Right.
But where is the checkmate done? In the path of life. That's why there's a line called in the maze of life.
Right.
But where was this maze of life? This whole act, this whole thing was done on a chessboard. That's why there's a line in the form of a chessboard.
Okay.
And how did that chess game end? It was a checkmate, and it was done by the man of imagination. But I didn't purposefully write in the approach that the man of imagination checkmated life and God. I didn't write it. What I wrote is, in the last line, checkmate by the man of imagination. So that who is the opponent is not mentioned, so that they are indirectly paid respect.
Yeah.
Right? There's a whole saying. You can win your opponent two ways. One by defeating him, and the other by first earning his respect,
Right.
then taking his permission to defeat him.
Yeah.
With your best capacity, right?
Right.
Where your opponent even says, you are my worthy opponent. At that stage, if you even defeat your opponent will be privileged that you defeated him.
Right.
Because you have first proved your worth,
Yeah.
then gave him respect, then proved you are his equal, and then while after defeating also, you showed your respect to your opponent.
Yeah.
Right? If a person takes this approach in life, whatever decision he takes, he will never be wrong, rather he will learn.
Yeah.
And I wrote this poem to teach myself how much I have learned. And maybe that is the reason many connected with this poem worldwide for the last 7 to 8 years.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm happy. Don't consider myself a legend. I consider myself a simple human being who feels most happy if he can give a small gift of wisdom to the people who can understand the wisdom and can be better human beings, be it female, male, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you.